Yes, let's work with maps. Look, Mexico, Guatemala, Nicaragua, situated below Panama, and Colombia is located nearby. Venezuela is next to Colombia. Now, coming from Venezuela, Colombia and stuff, these Nicaragua, Panama, Costa Rica, these places already have porous borders. There is not an issue to cross the border. You do not require a visa officer or any other thing. You can directly cross the border and come. The first challenge is being experienced in Mexico. Yes, let's do a Zoom meeting now. Look, this is the border between Guatemala and Mexico. Some places are rivers. This is important. Why? Because the place where the river is located is a little flatter. There are more settlements. It is also suitable for logistics supply. If the river is not big, it is preferred more for crossing, because the remaining parts are always better. First, let me show you the remaining parts. Yes, as you can see, there are steep mountains, deep valleys, and a multitude of mountains that stretch as far as the eye can see. Walking is difficult and stuff. Logistics supply is a bit more complicated. Let's get a bit closer. Certainly we are currently observing it from an elevated vantage point. We are viewing these images using Google Earth Pro software. Not a place to be preferred for crossing the border. Hence, individuals tend to favour alternative locations that are more suitable for this purpose. They have a preference for areas with smoother valleys, better logistics supply, and so on. Because here, yes, you can be an adult male aged 20, 25, but most of them have families and children. Women are coming, girls are coming. There are also weaker people. Not everyone is like us, so their route is like this. Guatemala is in closer proximity to the Pacific side of Mexico. In this region, there is a big city called Tapachula, which is known for its size and significance. You observe a river in close proximity to him. Do you perceive that it separates the city into two equal parts? In addition, there is a bridge right here. Look, it even indicates the presence of an immigration office in that location. Allow me to demonstrate. You have the legal option to cross into Mexico or Guatemala by utilizing this bridge. However, if you wish to go unlawfully and bring something from the opposite side, gaze upwards, as I've indicated with a check mark. You can go through that area. How are you doing? You are passing by in this manner.
Passing Tacuman, Patapachula, Mexico with friend. We're leaving, crossing from Guatemala through the river to Mexico.
Yes, prior to this illegal migration incident, the people here used to go to the other side and engage in shopping activities. The swings here were also making a small amount of money according to this. Everything was fine. Of course, when this illegal migration issue started, things got a little out of control. Yes, the video you'll see is from around 5 years ago when Trump was US President. Trump told Mexico that if they didn't halt the immigration flow, he would apply economic pressure to them. Therefore, the Mexican government also started implementing sanctions. He stopped the river crossings and closed the bridges. They started to prevent the passage of these immigrants.
Peace later. What is the duration of your stay in this place? It's constant. It's constant. The speed of migration is actually decreasing at a significant rate. And this national effort was acknowledged by other governmental relationships.
This work is national and involves other relationships.
Certainly, immigrants didn't stop. They also demonstrated against Mexican security forces. Look, you can see it here. In fact, there are Turkish lyrics in the background in a few places, if you pay attention. Apparently then, Turks were also trying to cross the river to go to America. You have the ability to visually perceive it in the background. Please, please, he articulates and extends an invitation for you to come closer and have a look at it with your own eyes. Yes, the truth is Mexico doesn't care. If US doesn't impose sanctions, it depends on whether these illegal immigrants enter America or not. It's beneficial for his job as he gets business from here. People coming bring money, buy food. There is a river passing by. Let's go back to the map here again. Look, this is the Mexico-Guatemala border, which is closer to the Pacific side. Let us zoom out a little more. Allow me to show you a limit. Zoom out in a manner similar to this. Mexico borders Belize and Guatemala in the south. If we can turn this north, like this, rivers along most of Mexico-Guatemala border, passing through mountains in the rest of the area. Some places depicted as straight borders on the map like this with a ruler, some of them divided by the river. You can view it from this spot. I am displaying it to you via Google Earth Pro in this way. Yes, let's sketch the border between Guatemala and Mexico. Take a look here. This is always a river. Indented, protruding areas are rivers. Remaining parts are mountainous. Like this, Belize country. This is unrelated to the subject. Yes, Mexico after crossing the Guatemalan border. Begin walking upwards towards the north. Generally walk without bothering the police from distant places lacking authority. Can travel by train. You can also hire a car. When it comes to the topic of where you are entering America, I will not show those places in too much detail on purpose. You enter from the places I marked like this. Certainly here are riverbeds in some areas, walls in some areas, metal wall to be exact, very high. They jump off his back and ride when patrols are not seen, or knowingly they cross the river and surrender to them directly, even though there is a patrol on the other side. Yes, most of those who cross the American border surrender and request asylum. He is moving to the United States. Some also desire to disappear in the intricate network of America's veins. We can't get news from them, we don't know them. But the bad part is that after passing these points, here is a desert. It's quite a desert, you know, and the desert has no mercy. And here a lot of people are dying. You know, it dies often. Yes, all of this is obviously covered in the American national news. Let's take a look at the news for a brief moment.
We now turn to the southern border, where agents say they're seeing an influx of migrants from Turkey. News Nation border correspondent Robert Sherman is live with why El Paso, Texas has become the #1 entry point into the U.S. for Turkish nationals. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning to you, Mitch. And typically when we talk about the U.S.-Mexico border, we talk about countries of origin such as Mexico, Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, El Salvador. What a lot of people don't realize is that at the southern border, agents are starting to see people from all across the globe.
Every day at the southern border, an average of 8,000 migrants cross from Mexico into the U.S. Many travel from Central and South America, Mexico, Cuba, and Venezuela, just to name a few. But since October 1st of last year, Border Patrol agents have processed 8,992 migrants from Turkey, almost all coming through the El Paso sector. Both of these numbers up considerably compared to the previous fiscal year. Our partners at BorderReport.com report that Turkish migrants can pay upwards of $15,000 a person to be smuggled in. Typically, they fly into Mexico City and make the journey north. Law enforcement chalks this up largely to the Mexican cartels, who they say have a web of connections and the ability to bring migrants to the border from anywhere. The Turkish numbers are unprecedented, but so are the number of Ukrainians, largely in part due to the war in Europe. About 25,000 have been encountered at the southern border since October, as have more than 13,000 Russians, 10,000 Indians, and over 4,000 Romanians.
These are transnational criminal organizations. They operate throughout the entire world.
And over the last 3 months, we've seen record migrant encounter number after record migrant encounter number. We are expecting new data to come out from Customs and Border Protection in the next couple of days.
Talk to the migrants arriving in Denver, as we have, and they'll say they just want to work. They want to find a safe place to stay. Yet some are living on the streets after they've exceeded the time allowed in Denver shelters.
Living on the street isn't what they wanted, but for now, the migrants living here accept it. It's their only option. Jeremy has been living in this tent for more than 2 weeks. The city says this is parkland, no camping or overnight sleeping allowed. Denver Parks and Rec says people were notified for the past 8 days. Jeremy says this is the first he's heard anything.
We're going to have more migrants coming throughout the whole month.
Okay, well, these folks need a place to stay right now, tonight. So where would you like me to take them?
Amy Beck is a homeless advocate and wants a different solution.
Mexico's government says it will start deporting migrants who are now waiting in its northern cities to enter the U.S. Thanks so much for being with us this morning, Camilo.
Hi, Chanel. The number of migrants crossing the U.S.-Mexico border without legal permission is nearing record levels. There are about 7,000 migrants crossing the border each day on average. That is a level that we have not seen since December and May of last year, when over 220,000 migrants were apprehended each month during those time periods. And we are on track right now. Border Patrol is on track, Chanel, to record over 210,000 apprehensions in September and the rest of this month by record arrivals of families coming with children, as well as a sharp increase in Venezuelan migrants hoping to reach the U.S. And right now, all indications point to this influx continuing to increase. We're seeing record numbers of migrants cross the notorious Darien Gap in Panama. That is that roadless jungle. The hundreds of thousands of migrants are traversing on foot each year to reach the U.S.
I wonder if you can talk a bit about why we're seeing a spike from those specific countries.
Well, we are seeing right now a global displacement crisis, Chanel, that is unprecedented. 7 million Venezuelans have left that country in recent years. That is the largest refugee crisis ever recorded here in the Western Hemisphere. They are fleeing that economic and political instability in that country. We're also seeing record numbers of Nicaraguans, Cubans, and Haitians either take to the sea to try to reach Florida or come to Mexico and other parts of Latin America in hopes of reaching the U.S.
We have reached a critical point in our city's migrant situation. Cold weather and snow have arrived. More than 3,000 new arrivals still don't have a roof over their heads.
Yes, it'd be good if we speed up. Now, of course, winter's coming, my friends. Look, this is Chicago, New York, and so on. Up there's Detroit. These regions are icy, really cold. Currently, the individuals lying on this street are resting in tents. What will people do this winter? Now, this is also in the news. Certainly, local governments are attempting to discover their own solutions. The bus you see behind the girl is standing there, coming at 8 in the evenings and staying there until 8 in the mornings, so that if anyone gets cold, they can heat up or something. They're trying to find such ridiculous solutions. There's a strange immigrant crisis in America, and winter is very harsh in America, especially in the northern states, and most of these immigrants are going there, and all of them are from Central America and South America, people who've never seen snow in their lives before. There's such a situation.
When can we expect to see these buses? Stephen and Tasha, 6 new buses with migrants will be arriving at some point later today, as more than
Now people are sleeping on the metro and on the streets. Migrants are sleeping wherever they find warm. Because, as I said, New York is a very cold place in New York. Of course, everyone has started to criticize Biden's immigration policy. You are leaving the doors open, all people are coming and everything. Now, especially, why are we becoming so many immigrants and everything? Biden finally signed the deportation issue that has been a matter of concern, and especially to Venezuela. It is extremely important for Venezuela to be. Why? This is a dummy first message. Migrants are being sent back to Venezuela through deportation by means of airplanes. Usually they aren't deported from Venezuela. They wouldn't come to America or be deported from Cuba. Throughout history, socialism, people who fled communism weren't deported, but now they're being deported to Venezuela, whereas in the past they weren't. They also show this in the news, particularly emphasize it in the news. It states that those who come after July will be deported.